Digimon Times was on Friday, bright and early for you Americans. I did react to it live if you want to go check out my VOD if you haven't already. And I was a little bit disappointed at the lack of really good news at Digimon Times. I was hoping to make a video Friday and today, Sunday, but I figured it's time to roll it all up into today's video. Primarily, this video is going to be talking about specifically what was announced at Digimon Times, the Digital World Iliad Vpets that are coming out, that while interesting, sure we like a pendulum color for Iliad, might mean something pretty significant for the future of the video game Digimon Story Time Stranger. Everything else that was announced there, well, we'll cover it very briefly. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to another video. If you can hear a fan in the background, it's because it's really hot today. So yes, at Digimon Times, we got a few interesting announcements, though a lot of them were posted beforehand. We got things like a Magna Garurumon Figureiya Standard Amplify, which we knew was coming, will combine with the Emperor Greymon one to become Susanoo-mon, our lad Susan. We got the reveal of the DIGIVICE version revival, basically evoking the original DIGIVICE toys for the, 10th time at this point, with stages all the way up to Kizuna. It's very interesting. And we got a figure of the Metal Garurumon G Erosion mode, plus some card game news, and absolutely nothing for Digimon Up. They had a segment right at the end, the one more thing equivalent for Digimon Up, and just didn't tell anything new. No release date, no update to the pre-registrations, a odd one. But if you're looking for a lot of cool toys and things like that, including the Digital World Iliad Vpet, which I'm going to talk about just after this section, I would recommend checking out today's sponsor, ZeninTCG, your one-stop shop for Digimon, anime, and much more goods. And if, like me, you can never get Digimon items in your country, either because they don't stock it or you're not supported by Premium Bandai, ZeninTCG have got the hookup. With the DIGIVICE version revival in the Taichi, Yagami, and Yamato Ishida colors, and if you get both on ZeninTCG, you will get 8% off on that bundle. As a reminder, these are pre-orders aiming to release in September of this year. Zenin is also selling their own premium DIGIVICE version revival armor to keep your DIGIVICE toy protected. And you get 10% off these if you buy 2 and 15% off if you buy 4. And of course, Zenin's got those Iliad Pendulum colors, number 8 Celestial Walker and number 9 Astral Sentinel, with 8% off again if you get both. Again, this is a pre-order. They're releasing between December this year and January of next year. Wonder what that might mean for Time Stranger DLC. And Zenin's also selling the official Pendulum color cases, which you can pick up to protect your Iliad server Pendulum colors. And just like some others, if you get both, you will get 8% off your order. But let's get into this Digital World Iliad Pendulum. It's very interesting. So they are the Pendulum color 8 and 9, Celestial Walker, and Astral Sentinel. Really cool colors. I like them, and it makes all the sense in the world that they're revisiting Iliad. It has become hugely popular thanks to Digimon Story Time Stranger, and it carries on that legacy of the Shambhala Vpets 6 and 7. Focusing specifically on that new digital world, so we're revisiting a digital world that we know a lot more about now through these Vpets. But they also announced that there would be 2 new Digimon for them. A crow-looking Digimon and a snake-looking Digimon in a hoodie. Finally, Hubmon, Habu's Digimon, has been dignified in some kind of... Nah, this probably isn't meant to be Hubmon at all. Plus, I love that the snake Digimon is in a hoodie of a much more intimidating-looking Digimon, and it's likely a play on the idea of a hooded cobra. I love that. It's definitely the design that I prefer, and I'm always looking for more snake Digimon, so I'm very happy to see this. I guess it also evokes a snake shedding its skin, which is interesting because the skin, like I say, looks like it could be another Digimon. A more dark, evil Digimon, but the one that's emerging is like a cute little snake. I'm predicting maybe this will be Kadasumon and Hebimon, but we're gonna see. However, it was actually not just 2 Digimon that got announced, as the Premium Bandai page, and I cannot literally visit it without a VPN, showed off the evolution lines for these Vpets. Thankfully, some other Digimon fans have managed to source it for me. So first of all, on the Celestial Walker Vpet, we have some pretty standard stuff, right? Mokumon and Sunmon becoming Coronamon and Elecmon. Then we've got the full Apollomon line plus Grace Novamon, Aegeomon through to Jupitermon, and then we've got Titamon, Skullbalukimon in the end here, Blimpmon, Master Blimpmon, and Volcanusmon, Sealamon, Skullseedramon, and King Waymon. That's pretty cool. Would love to see that in Time Stranger. here. Tylomon to Sharkmon to Neptunemon, Garurumon Black, Garurumon Black, and Marukimon, and Ogamon, Digitamamon, and Titamon. But there are some more interesting things here. First of all, of course, we can see the new Snake Rookie, which leads us into 2 brand new designated pre-evolutions for Bacchusmon. What looks to be, again, a kind of snake with maybe some sort of grape bandana, tying into the Fruits of the Forest in Time Stranger, and then Lord Ochu? Kirby? I don't know. But it's really cool that we're getting this designated line for Bacchusmon here. There's also something interesting to observe in this VPET too. While a lot of these Digimon are available in the game via the actual base game or pre-order DLC, notably Tylomon is not. And of course, neither are Mokumon and Sunmon. This is making me develop a bit of a conspiracy theory, which I'll talk about once I've covered the other VPET. Because over on Astral Sentinel, we have the Renamon baby, Relemon, becoming Moonmon. This is giving me some Shambhala connection vibes with the Renamon to Yukinamon evolution line from Elysian and Shambhala. Anyway, we get a full evolution line that's not possible in Time Stranger here. Bearmon to Grizzlymon to Great Grizzlymon and Marsmon. That wasn't possible in the base game, but clearly is now an evolution line. We also have Grace Novamon on the end here again, of course, because it's going to be able to DNA Digivolve between the 2 pendulums. Then we have Lunamon going down 2 branches, which I think is fun. Darkmon and Luminamon, which also weren't in Time Stranger. Then Venusmon. Then, of course, the standard evolution line through to Dianamon. We also have Kiwimon to Sirenmon to Ceresmon. One that really confuses me, Kotalmon to Lamiamon to Minervamon. Then Centaurmon to Enbarmon and Duluharmon, which is a Liberator Mega / level 7 that I don't think we've ever seen in a VPET up to this point. And Dobamon to Cerberusmon to Plutomon with Plutomon Zombie on the end. But we've got even more Digimon that weren't in base Time Stranger here. Of course, we've got Darkmon and Luminamon, and then Kotalmon and Lamiamon, plus the new Bird Rookie, which gets its own evolution line to Junomon. Really interesting. Looks like we might have a Peacock Ultimate here and some kind of metal bird as the champion. But just like with the other Celestial Walker VPET, we have an Armor Digimon. We have a intrinsically Greek myth Digimon, the Lamia, which also digivolves into Medusamon in Liberator, and some new evolutions. I'm a little perplexed that we have a very snake-like evolution line of Kotalmon through to Lamiamon and Minervamon, and they didn't put that on the VPET that has the new Snake Rookie. Seems like a miss to me. Don't know why they do that, but of course it could change in future in different stuff, and that's where I think the rub lies. Now, it's entirely possible that these VPETs are just VPETs. It doesn't mean anything, it doesn't indicate anything. However, pre-orders are already open for these VPETs. They're going to be releasing between December of this year and January of next year, right in the window where it's possible for the Time Stranger DLC to start releasing. It seems odd to me that we have these things that a lot of people have been asking for specifically for Time Stranger now, for the VPET, for the Pendulum color. Almost like they're setting us up that this is possible for the DLC, the large-scale expansion style DLC that's coming out next year. Walk with me here. Over on the ostensibly Jupitermon VPET, we have the new Snake Rookie, right? We have a new evolution line for Bacchusmon. Then we have a bunch of Digimon that are already in Time Stranger, but we have some evolutions that haven't happened, or indeed aren't in the game, like King Waymon. But King Waymon would have been a really cool addition for Time Stranger. I can almost envision the Waymon in the Abyss area becoming King Waymon at some point in the story, maybe taking us to the Gear Forest or something like that, like some sort of cut content. We have this Bacchusmon pre-evolution, a whole line, a snake through to a weird Lord Ochu and into Bacchusmon. Tylomon, an Armor Digimon. The Armor Digi-Eggs are already in Time Stranger. You could easily add more Armor Digimon and they'd already be there to be able to use the Digimental, but also Digivolve conventionally. Moving over to the Plutomon VPET, we have the new evolution line for Junomon, Lamiamon, a Greek myth Digimon, Kotalmon, another Armor Digivolution, this time of light, and indeed Darkmon and Luminamon. A big theme of Time Stranger, mild spoilers, was seeing Digimon digivolve over time. However, we did meet a few of the Olympus 12 members already at Mega, like Bacchusmon. Given this game is called Digimon Story Time Stranger and focuses around an 8-year time travel gap between the past of 8 years and the present, wouldn't it be interesting if the large-scale expansion style DLC featured time travel again? It would make sense given the name, but this time we go back 16 years, discovering new and old Digimon. Maybe we have have this kind of friend, instead of Agiomon as our companion, we have this crow and this snake joining our party as guests. And then we find out through the course of the story that they are Junomon and maybe Bacchusmon? It's definitely far from confirmed, I want to stress this, but I do think it's very cool that we're getting this Digital World Iliad focus when we also are eagerly expecting a new expansion style DLC set in the Digital World of Iliad. And it's not just the Vpet, they've created a full Digital World Iliad website in anticipation of these new Vpets. Now it does cover a lot of stuff we already know, but it has this kick-ass new logo that looks kind of like a lyre, but also I could kind of see it being like the gates to Olympus too. The digital world governed by the host computer Homeros, developed in a way unlike any other digital world. By examining the foundations of its unprecedented ecosystem and the development of its civilization, one can infer that data derived from Greek and Roman mythology was deeply involved with its creation. Then we have a focus on Homeros, and this is kind of the Homeros logo that we get, similar to how we got the Kunlun logo. The host computer in charge of governing Digital World Iliad is known as Homeros. Although it is referred to as an administrator, it usually remains silent and rarely involves itself directly in the operation of the world. As such, few Digimon are even aware of its existence. However, it has been programmed to jump into action whenever Iliad faces a crisis that could threaten its continued existence. Though it has no fixed form, the lyre, its symbol, is revered by the Guardians of the World. Then we got the Olympus 12, the 12 Guardians serving Homeros under the leadership of Jupitermon. They protect the peace of Iliad while also striving to further its growth and prosperity. All of them possess power far beyond that of ordinary Digimon, and their names are known far and wide. So yeah, right at the top we got Jupitermon and Junomon, then Volcanusmon, Marsmon, Marukimon, Minervamon, Neptunemon, Venusmon, Bacchusmon, Ceresmon, and Apollomon and Dianamon. Then a bit of a focus on the world of Iliad. The most widely accepted explanation for why this digital world developed so differently from others lies in its distinctive structure. It's a multi-layered world made up of many independent regions, each with completely different ecosystems, which of course we saw in Time Stranger, right? Junomon's Temple, Gia Forest, the Abyss area, Central Town, the Factorial area, the Cosmic area, and the Dark Field. During the ancient days of Iliad, the world was connected together as a single unimaginably vast continent. However, upon being faced with an unprecedented disaster, the continent was fragmented, causing it to take on its current form. Now that's interesting. If the DLC again does focus on time travel, maybe going back further than we could even imagine, maybe we could visit a Digital World Iliad before that fracture, the kind of Pangea of Digital World Iliad. That would be interesting. Rather than traveling by Locomon to each area, maybe we could just walk from the Abyss area to the Gia Forest or something like that. The numerous regions are separated by an empty void. Presently, railway tracks serve as one of the few means to travel between regions. After the world was divided, each region developed in its own unique way. So again, maybe we wouldn't have straight up the Abyss area next to the Gia Forest, etc. Maybe it'd be a completely different looking Digital World Iliad. Maybe more like, sorry to bring up Kingdom Hearts again, or Disney in general, but more like kind of Thebes and Mount Olympus and stuff like that we see in Kingdom Hearts. That could be interesting. With much more Greek and Roman inspired scenery and architecture and things like that, which I think was a little bit missing from Time Stranger. The Digimon of the Olympus 12 are also scattered, with each protecting a different region. The established regions are explained in detail below. And then of course we've got details on all of the areas. You can go to the website yourself to check these out, but they're all talking about things that we see in Time Stranger, and we also have these wonderful pieces of art, very evocative of the shadow puppets from the game, and they talk a little bit about the Titans too, with Titamon looking intense. I have no genuine proof in any way that this means we're going to be tying in these elements into the Time Stranger DLC, obviously other than the fact that it's set in the Digital World Iliad. And in fact, a lot of this website is more like the setup for Time Stranger specifically, but obviously that is just now the lore of the Olympus 12 and the Titans. But with the new Digital World Iliad Vpet adding existing and brand new Digimon, I think it would be a massive missed opportunity not to include those in the DLC. Plus more, like I say, we have Lamiamon digivolving into Minervamon. You gotta have Medussamon too in the game. This could very well be our first hint, apart from Terriermon Assistant being added to the game, as to what we can expect from the DLC for Time Stranger, which Digimon could be added. Definitely not a foregone conclusion, but if the DLC isn't releasing until 2027, they got plenty of time to make 3D models for these brand new Digimon, and I think very excitingly, specifically for me and the other Armor Digivolution fans, we have Tylomon and Kotlomon here, which could indicate that more Armor Digimon would get added to the game. Though that might not be much soothing for people who are hoping for more Frontier Spirits to be added to the game, because we haven't seen any of those here. Anyway, that's it, my wrap up of the new Digital World Iliad Pendulum colors and what they might mean for the future of Digimon Story Time Stranger and its DLC. They could mean absolutely nothing though, this could be it. The DLC might be completely unrelated, but I'm very excited to see the full designs for these new Digimon, and their names of course, the snake and the crow, but also specifically those evolutions for Bacchusmon and Junomon. That's very exciting. I always like getting new Digimon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you excited for this? Are you excited for what it might mean for the future of Iliad and Time Stranger and stuff like that? And thank you to my sovereign, ZDK14, Jeremy Babineau, and everyone else who supports me over on patreon.com/Karn EX, plus my YouTube channel members here on YouTube. You guys are amazing. I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.